What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Jonathan. You know, it's been a crazy few days. Never in a million years would I expected to get 20,000 views, actually 25,000 now, on a picture of a bunch of shafts in my storage unit. You know, this is kind of what I've been doing, trying to get myself back ready to get to work and getting motivated for daily life. You know, how many of us play music when we play golf? I know I'm one of them. Is it maybe because we don't want to have a conversation? Maybe because the least amount of chatter possible? Maybe that's why golf started as a walking game, right? Bunch of introverts just kind of going out in the pasture whacking shit. That's kind of me, you know. I don't like to talk. I'm not a big chit chat guy. I don't want to answer questions about myself. Now, I'm an open book. I don't care. I don't hide anything. You've seen this on the podcast, right? This is me. I come here. This is my hangout. This is my man cave. And honestly, I think had I had this a few years ago, maybe even during COVID, this might have been a safe haven that have made things turn out a little different. You know, we can't look back now. We got to look forward. We got to do the best we can with what we got now. But part of that is kind of sorting through all this, right? Figuring out all this stuff. You know, you hear me use that word, and because it's a word that she used to yell at me every time we had an argument. You know, she'd claim I was trying to buy her and stuff like that. But this was my life, right? This wasn't stuff. This was just stuff this was props. You know, when you're in sales and marketing, why do people come to me? Why do people trust me? They trust that I'm going to have the best stuff. They trust that I'm going to know what is the latest and greatest. How do they know that I know that? Because I wear it, because I use it. You know, I remember a couple years ago, I called Titleist. Yeah, I'd like to order the Ventus for my fitting kit. Okay, I don't see that in our catalog. I'm like, really? I go, because 4 out of the top 10 players in the world that are playing Titleist drivers are playing that shaft. I can't order it to fit. The very next week, it became stock and it became available. But I'm not saying I'm an expert, and I'm not saying I'm the latest and greatest of everything, but, you know, I usually am pretty good at keeping up with trends. My shop usually did pretty well. I didn't get stuck with a lot of product. You know, I created a logo. I would love to say from scratch, but obviously I worked at OS, and OS had an influence in it. It started with a capital H and G with a pin flag going through it. That didn't look right. Then we did the lowercase H and G with the pin flag. It made the H kind of look like a B. So then that's how we ended up with the golf club. You know, now that they're kind of incorporating the pig, which was my original plan, if I was going to do it between the H and the G, I would replace the golf club with a pigtail. That's how I would bring it in. You know, that pig that they have now just kind of ruins the HG logo, in my opinion. But again, I'm getting off topic a little bit, but it is what started this podcast. It's what got me thinking about talking about my stuff, right? Because, you know, how much of this in here is something that somebody either gave me because I did them a favor, or a company sent me because I killed it with their brand? All those shafts you see were because companies were sending them to me and, hey, John, try this. Hey, I'd love to put this in your fitting kit. Hey, you know, most of this stuff was free, or if it wasn't free, it was at a huge discount. So it gets into the marketing, right? You know, I've been swag since I was a kid. My father was a football coach and a baseball coach when I was growing up, and all his kids had the stuff, right? And I was playing Little League and Pee Wee, and when his students were done with theirs, they'd hand it down, you know. Playing Pee Wee football, I was one of the first ones. I had a yellow shield. Well, that's because one of my father's players had it, used it, and then moved on to the smoke one or the clear one. I don't remember what it was, but he said, hey, throw this on your helmet. Okay. And then when the big Saucony wristbands were trendy, they were sold in pairs of 2. Well, the guys wanted green and yellow. That was the school colors. So they bought 2 pairs, one green, one yellow. they'd put one on each arm, and then they'd give me one. So I had, from a little age, I was always into the swag stuff. And then when you get older and you stop playing sports, and now you're kind of watching sports, and you're starting to see the stuff and the influence of your generation, hip hop, and I don't want to say urban, like street. I'm trying to think of a PC way to talk about that stuff, but urban. You're starting to see that kind of trend filter into sports, and I think it's a great thing. I think it's fun to watch. I think the couple of years that the NFL was kind of being really strict on the celebration sucked. Speaking of NFL, I don't mean to get off topic, but can the Jets be any more of a cursed franchise? I mean, you can't laugh at it. It sucks. Aaron Rodgers is one of the best in the game. You don't want him to get hurt, but it's just the Jets. Like, they just can't get out of their own way. It just sucks for Aaron Rodgers. Sucks for the Jets, but I'm obviously always cheering against the Jets. But it sucks for the NFL, to be honest. It was going to be a big story. But, yeah, so back to what I was talking about with the swag and stuff, yesterday kind of started that, started kind of weaning out stuff that I'm never going to use again. Those shafts aren't like, this isn't charity case. This isn't woe is me. I could literally go sit on my computer, go to secondswing.com, type in all those shafts and get the money that I'm going to get from these guys. I just figured I'd help some people. If somebody's got, the Ventus and can't afford two and they want to buy a backup, or so, I figured whatever, I'm never going to use them. I have two of what I need, sell them at the same price that I'm going to get online. So that's kind of what I'm going to start to do with some of this stuff. A lot of it has some sentimental value. I'm going to try to figure out right now, this shows you how new I am to all of this. I never would have thought that I'd be on social media or YouTube ranting. So I'm going to try to figure out right now if I can insert a video that I took yesterday of a set of golf clubs that I have. It was my gamer from about 2000 to about 2010. Tiger, when he turned pro, was playing Mizuno MP14s, I believe, with MP29s and the longer irons. Titleist didn't have a forged blade at the time, so they had to figure something out. They had a few sets forged for him that didn't get stamped at all, and then as he went through, he kind of his likes and dislikes, and they came up with what eventually would be the 681. But before they mass produced the 681, they had one in the middle that they just labeled T. The one that he used, I think it was to win the Grand Slam. I don't remember if it was the Grand Slam year or if it was one year within a couple years where he won 4. But it said he won 4 majors with this set, and it sold for $5.3 million in auction, the one that he had. I think there's only something like 500 of these sets made. I don't know the exact number. I'm sure we could figure it out through Titleist. But I played it. It was my set from 2000 until about 2010 when I finally switched to the AP2. I loved it, but I probably wore it out a little more than you would want to wear out a collectible set of irons. I don't know if I'll sell these, but I'm just talking about them because it's part of the pod. Kicks and irons and collectible stuff and knowing what's going to be collectible and what's not going to be collectible. Man, if I could go back and get my baseball cards from the 80s and 90s, or even the Star Wars stuff that we had. My whole life, if it's a toy, I'm playing with it. All of my stuff, all of my putters are gamed. There's none of them over there brand new in a wrapper. That's not what putters are made for. Try it, feel it. I love to be able to stand in a fitting and tell a customer, I had that putter in the bag for a little while. I loved it. I went back to my old one just because it was, but that putter has, so again, when it comes back to the stuff, yes, companies are sending me things. They're sending me putters. They're sending me shafts. No one, grip company, sent me some grips out of nowhere, just off social media. Hey, try these. That was back with Almeida Golf, and I just never got around to doing it. They came a little late in the program. But a lot of this stuff that you see was an investment, right? It takes money to make money. It's tough to talk about like ex relationships and ex life without sounding like you're going backwards, but do you not think I got her all that stuff and took her out to play all these nice golf courses? And I wasn't using her by any means. I loved it. I had a blast. But if you don't think I benefited from some of those pictures on social media, you're crazy. And I'd be crazy to deny that I did. But it's not why I did it, right? But again, you get X amount of dollars with every company, and you buy what you want, and then you get other companies that your buddies work for that are even more generous that you wear all the time, right? So you can only spend so much, but you got to do it in a way that's gonna be profitable to yourself and to the other companies that sending you the stuff. I guarantee you, if I called any of those sales reps at any given day and said, hey, I'm going to play Katansit tomorrow with the girl that I'm currently dating, gonna take some pictures, she's a medium, you got any samples for her to wear tomorrow? Most reps would be like, absolutely, right? It's doesn't take much to see it. So when I'm starting to look at all this and being around here and all this stuff, and like when Tempe created that logo, I knew right away. I was like all in. The guy Adam Tempesta from Tempe's Tees, he sent me that out of the kindness of his heart, right? He didn't have to do anything. He heard me kind of thinking about a podcast. He's like, yo, I love your Almeida Golf logo. I think this might look good. I made 2 little tweaks to it. I took one word and put it on the bottom or something, and then I put podcast across the middle, and that was it. And that's the podcast. But it's, you're always looking at ways to sell things. I never looked at this as a career, and I never looked at this as a mental health podcast, right? Unfortunately, some things changed, and my life situation changed, and a couple things got overlapped. The post yesterday that I posted, I didn't even think of that as a woe is me or sad. I wasn't even sad yesterday. I was just kind of looking around, just doing stuff, and I guess I can see, looking back at it now, how it would come off as a little down in the dumpsters, but I'm really not. I came today, I woke up, I went down, I ran some errands, I sent some shafts out, guys. You should see them in the next couple days. Then I went home, I watched Barstool Radio like I usually do. Mean Girls, didn't know them, but they're gone. Somebody's leaving that place every day, or getting fired every day, I should say. But no, it's like you run into these routines. I'm trying to get into a routine. So some of the routines are come over to the storage unit. And yesterday I caught it on film, and I could see how it sounded a little doom and gloom. Trust me, I'm okay. Couple weeks ago, I went 4 or 5, maybe even 6 days or something without posting anything, without being on social media, without answering a phone call or a text. I was in pain, and I was miserable, and I was down, and I didn't want to talk to anybody. And that is when I have to force myself to go do something, because that's when it gets dark, and that's when I get depressed. So when I'm on here ranting, this is me just being open with all of you guys. It's the comments behind the scenes of, I feel you, dude. I hear you, man. Keep your head up. It'll get better. That's the shit that I notice, So obviously, we still have a few hundred people following along. Yesterday, I got 25,000 views on TikTok. I had one commenter, and again, we're going to play around with some editing and see if I can edit the picture in here. Had one commenter tell me I should turn the Jeep around, back it in, start it, close the door, and go to sleep. That doesn't hurt my feelings. That shit, like that. When you put yourself out here like I am, you're going to expect some whack job people to kind of make their whack job comments. I'm okay with that. Whatever. It is what it is. I made a kind of a joke out of it. Made it you're not anything until somebody tells you to kill yourself on the internet. But again, for somebody that was struggling or is struggling with that, it's a pretty shitty thing to say. You guys can talk about how much of an asshole I am all you want. I never go personal. I don't hit wives. I don't hit children. I don't hit, below the belt. I tell truths. You might not like truths, and the truths might suck for you, but I tell truths, and that's never going to change. I honestly, if being phony is what it takes to fit in, then I'd rather just sit here in my storage unit. Again, like I said earlier in the pod, if I had this during COVID, this is could have been my man cave. I think everybody needs their space. It's just a timeout, right? It's just kind of. I sat here yesterday after doing that rant and just kind of put my head back, closed my eyes, and smoked. And you hear the little ringing in your ears, and the ringing in your ears makes the voice go away, and everything's fine, right? Took 5 minutes. I woke up this morning. I'm as good as new. I'm myself again. These are the peaks and valleys that I always went through, and I never took time to figure out myself. I never worked on me. I never had a therapist. I never had anyone to talk to. I just pushed it down, and isolated. And I still do, but now at least I'm putting this out there. I'm getting some people, my friends reaching out. Brian, I can't thank enough for the contact. I just got my new ones in. As you can see, my eyes are a little red today. They were back ordered for 8 weeks. So you see why it's so frustrating for me? I need to update them. I have an old kind of style I need to change. I'm so afraid to mess with anything because I'm so used to going like this with my blood sugar, which messes with your eyes, that I'm just like, I'll just keep it. But so many people have reached out. A buddy that he's kind of somewhat of a golfer, but we've been friends forever. Started talking to him because I have Pat's tickets that he might want to go with me. We just kind of lost touch, and it happens, right? I do it. I'm guilty. I'm the first to admit I'm closed off. When I'm isolating, I don't want to talk to anybody. My phone usually will go. Now I don't even bring it with me. A lot of times it's in the car or on airport mode. I'm just so frustrated with everything else going on. So it's kind of funny. I'm sitting here looking right now, and I'm 18 minutes into this, and it's almost like a podcast. And I forgot to plug the mic in. So we're going on the Apple mic today. We'll go through, again, I want to try working with iMovie and stuff to try to put those pictures over the parts that I'm describing, the set of irons, the comment yesterday that I think sucks. There's a lot of things you can say to people. Again, it doesn't bother me personally. Like I said, my depression is usually internal. It's usually when my feet and knees get bad and I can't get up and down stairs and I can't move, and I'm just like, is this serious? Am I dealing with this again? That's when I start to get down on myself. Right now, again, I think I've told people, I think I've described it. It's like somebody has the bottom of a half-cut tennis ball right on the ball of my foot on both feet. So it kind of feels like I'm walking like this, onto a tennis ball. So it kind of sucks. Again, like I said, it's actually good for the golf game. It gets me off my toes and keeps me from going over the top, but it doesn't feel very comfortable. And it's tough to find shoes that kind of fit that foot. And we got to figure it out. My new doctor, thankfully, I guess there's a new oral drug that I can take on top of my shot once a month that used to prevent me from drinking alcohol or doing anything else kind of lifestyle-wise that I wouldn't take. That I guess there's a new one that we're going to try. So I'm looking forward to the next few months. I just got to find a job and figure things out and get working and start paying for all this. But again, Amazon would have been perfect. Something happened behind the scenes. It's 30 days. I can figure out again. It wasn't a drug test or anything like that. Just something foolish. But didn't quite work out, unfortunately. But again, something like that I got to find. I got to figure it out 2, 3, 4 days a week. Make my money and then be able to do the podcast. That was the original plan for this podcast, was me and a partner, whoever it ended up being. I had a guy in mind. He kind of flaked. And then a few other guys asked to be involved, but I just don't know that our personalities vibe. Somebody has to be able to take it, and give it to, a podcast isn't successful unless you're arguing, but I know that when I'm on one and I'm on a rant and I know I'm right, I can go a little hard. I can go in. So it has to be somebody that can take it. Again, there is no below the belt. You see the dude yesterday told me to commit suicide and I'm laughing, right? So I can take it. I can get into it, get off the show and laugh and be like, you done, you over that shit, you fucking clown, don't ever say that shit again, and be over it, right? So you got to find that right guy. But this was always supposed to be a golf and a swag podcast. So I hope it's about to turn back. I'm starting to feel a little better. I don't know. I'm supposed to play golf this week. I haven't heard from anybody. If that doesn't happen, that's fine. And then again, next week, I'm supposed to play Thorny Lee. So thanks again to everybody who reached out for the shafts. I will start to reach out individually. A few of them went out today. A few of them will go out again tomorrow. I already got them boxed up. That's half the problem right now is finding boxes. So as soon as I can get those out, I'll get them out to you guys. And as I start to find stuff that I can sell, I'll start selling it. Again, I don't really want to sell all of it. And I'm back and forth on the Tiger irons. Let me know your opinion. Somebody's interested, get a number, make me an offer. I'm so up in the air on those, I can't figure it out. So until next time, guys, this was supposed to be a 4 or 5 minute little rant on social. It turned into a 21-minute YouTube. So again, once I get going and I'm comfortable and I'm in a good mood, I can talk for days. I got stuff to talk about and I got stories to tell. Thank you guys for tuning in, and please don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube page. Let's go.